What's going on, everybody? It is 10:18 p.m. Thursday, July 15th, 2021, and we got all kinds of stuff to talk about. 1 second, I'm cleaning my glasses, guys. Sorry. I just realized I couldn't see. And I still can't see, whatever. GBTC unlocked nears. JP Morgan says Bitcoin will be crushed. So if you guys aren't familiar with this, Grayscale has a Bitcoin trust fund or whatever. They're similar. It's similar to an ETF, but not exactly the same thing. And a lot of the news is stating that all this Bitcoin, I believe it's like 40,000 Bitcoin or something, or 16,000, or it's some ridiculous amount of Bitcoin. They're thinking that it's going to get dumped on the market. Everybody's going to be able to sell it. I guess when they invested in it, it was locked for 6 months. All this other stuff. So JP Morgan, the unlock starts on July 18th. And has struck fear in the many of hearts. JP Morgan analysis claimed that Bitcoin would drop to the 20s after the event. JP Morgan has made multiple predictions about the cryptocurrency market, and this time, after considering the GBTC unlock event, they predicted the Bitcoin price would drop into the 20s after July 18th. It's the big Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is the world's biggest digital asset fund. Has been in existence since 2013. If you seek exposure to Bitcoin, you can invest in shares of the firm, and the money is locked up for 6 months. Every 6 months, Bitcoin is released, and the phenomenon is termed GBTC unlocking. So, I'll get into another article. I have an article that I think covers this better, but. What's interesting is if you look at the share release schedule, about 42 million shares are going to be released from lockup between 7/12 and 7/22, equaling about $1.3 billion worth of Bitcoin. Depending on how much of these are sold, it could lead to deeper discounts. Right? So that's also interesting. You jump into here, and this article covers it a little better. It says, with the biggest BTC unlocking event scheduled to happen in the middle of July, many market analysts and traders are worried about the potential effects of this event on Bitcoin's price and the crypto market in general. However, crypto trading firm QCP Capital believes the unlocking will not pose significant threat to the market's balance. And this is what's interesting because, the narrative is really like pushing this thing down. And, we keep talking about how there's going to have to be this narrative switch, right? And when this narrative switch takes place, it's like a light switch, man. And when it does, just as fast and as fearful as everybody's been and as fast as it's been dropping, it's going to take off. Everybody's going to start to FOMO. Euphoria will be back. And, we're back on the biggest bull run in the history of the world. That's how quick things like that happen in this space. And anyway, so I kind of feel like this news right here has been what's driving the price down and keeping it down is because this is coming up in July. There's a lot of stuff coming up in July, and we'll get to some of that in a second. So what is the GBTC unlock? Accredited investors can buy shares of the fund directly and sell them after a 6-month lockup on secondary market. It became very popular among investors. It's the only public market vehicle available for trading Bitcoin and was considered the next best thing to a Bitcoin ETF. Especially since U.S. regulators are yet to approve such a product. They will when Goldman or somebody applies. Due to the lack of alternative, BTC shares are often traded at a premium to the value of Bitcoin on spot markets. They have started trading at a significant discount, prompting Grayscale, Bitcoin's largest buyer, to stop buying more Bitcoin. Excuse me. I really want to hammer in the point where they charge a premium. We're going to get to that in a minute. They just talk about it's about 16,000 Bitcoin worth over $550 million at its current price, which have been locked for 6 months, will be made available to investors. Once unlocked, they have the option to either liquidate their shares at current market price or hold on and sell at a later date. If they choose to sell, it could cause downward pressure on Bitcoin's price as well as GBTC. Several analysts, including JP Morgan, have predicted investors will likely liquidate their shares, considering the drastic change in sentiment regarding Bitcoin, including energy concerns from Elon Musk and China's crackdown on mining. But then you have other people that say there will be, while this is the biggest share unlock in a single day, it's not the first such event by Grayscale. They noted in its report that most of the large institutional positions who have subscribed in kind before have already been unlocked earlier, and they have held off selling at the current discounted price. The upcoming unlocks are for institutional holders who subscribed directly to GBT 6 months ago. And this batch consists of all the new Q1 2021 position, largely ARK's last tranche. So what's really interesting about that... and here we go again. There's just another crypto exchange saying the trust doesn't matter for Bitcoin. And I believe, is this... who was it on this article again? I'm sorry, I lost this. FTX. And they're just talking about a lot of the same stuff. It's a unique product. It's designed as a black hole that sucks in Bitcoin. No Bitcoin ever leaves the trust. Apart from Grayscale taking its 2% management fee from the holdings, this is the only way to reduce their inventory. So just keep in mind that this is a situation where they, we're talking about shares here too. It is different. And something I saw on BC Backers channel, and I really wanted to share this with you guys, is this is the time frame where they were purchasing these shares, and they were at their high here, 44 cents. At their low in this time period, they were or $44, excuse me, and they were $35. So let's just call them $40, right? We're over here now. So if we call them $40 when they were, the average price they were being accumulated at, at a huge amount, we're talking $500 million worth at its current price, which is less, as you can see. So, who knows? That was several hundred, probably a couple $100 million more. Sorry, I'm kind of spacing out a little bit here thinking about something. The point I'm trying to make is if you pull a price change thing here from, I'm trying to get as close as I can, whatever, that's fine, from there, and then you pull it down here to the current price. If they were to come out and start selling their Bitcoin over the next couple of days, they would be selling it, don't even account the premium, just count it at face value. On average, these people would be suffering a 35.72% loss. So I don't think we have to worry about that. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the slingshot effect is very close. This is not financial advice, but just think about it, people. These are accredited investors. These aren't even retail people who are going to panic out, and just freak out all over the place. FOMO, oh God, just it's not what they are. These are people who understand money, who have a lot more of it than most retail investors do. And, once you become an accredited investor and you gain that status, you're probably doing quite a bit of investing. So, I feel like these people are pretty educated. So it leads me to think that while the narrative is down, 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 we all know that when the bottoms come in and things take off, it's usually when it's all bad, 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 and then boom. And then when everything's going good, 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 that's when, the crashes come in and stuff. We know that the narrative is everything, man. And it's... everybody's been saying that all we need is this one big narrative switch. And I think the month of July is leading into that, because I don't think these people are dumping their Bitcoin. I think people are going to continue to accumulate Bitcoin like they have been. Now, what's interesting is this whole thing starts July 18th, right? And it's really this whole week, that whole week from the 12th to the 22nd, that's everybody's got their eyes on, apparently. What's interesting about that is right in the middle of this and towards the end of it, keep in mind, ARK is heavily invested. The B-Word conference will be going down. It's Kathy Wood, Jack Dorsey, John Newberry, Adam Backlund, Alden, and Nick Carter. All kinds of cool stuff going on there. I'm not a Bitcoin guy, but I still think stuff like this is great. But look at the timing, right? We know that TA has a tendency to line up with narrative. If you can't grasp that concept, I don't know what to tell you. It is right in front of you. I mean, you can go historically. It never ceases to amaze me. Actually, it does. It blows my mind all the time, that people don't see it. But, anyway, this is all happening in July. You got the Grayscale thing happening in July. This is right after this big dump. They're going to hold a Bitcoin conference. What a great way to rally the troops. You got Elizabeth Warren slamming down on Gary Gensler and the SEC saying, the 28th is a deadline to figure out crypto regulation. I do think Gary Gensler probably saw this letter before it was sent out publicly the way it was. They have some history, so I have a feeling that both parties were aware of what was going on here. And I don't think that this necessarily means anything happens by July 28th, but a response needs to be issued, which should be telling, because what she was asking for in that letter was pretty specific. Some other things that continue to happen towards the end of July. The SEC versus Ripple case today. Judge Netburn has ordered a controversial deposition of ex-Secretary Director Bill Hinman. Fantastic. All about it. That made my whole day. I've been wearing my XRP shirt running around town before the news even broke, so I felt, validated. Now, they're saying the deposition will take place on the 19th. I did see here where it said Netburn asked the parties to delay by a week to reach agreement. So I don't know if that meant a week from today onto the 22nd or if that's what the 19th is referencing. But again, here we are in this 20 range. You got the grayscale thing is on the 18th. The SEC deposition might be on the 19th. Then you're rolling into the 21st. You got the B word convention. Then a week later, the 28th, Elizabeth Warren's demanding an answer. This just seems like the perfect storm for me to spit out some green candles all over the place. And that is not financial advice. I could totally be wrong. It would certainly not be the first time, but it really feels that way. This is a whole transcript here of John Deaton's site ripping out the basically some paraphrased transcripts throughout the entire hearing today. I'm not going to go over all of this because the video is already running long and it would take forever. But, right here they said the SEC argues the agency does not speak through its staff or individual commissioners, but only through no action letters or enforcement actions. So anything Hinman ever said is privileged as deliberative. The judge paused for a long time. The judge then asked the SEC if the deliberative process privilege would be invoked if Hinman was deposed and asked why he thought ETH was not a security and why he said it. The SEC said absolutely yes, because Hinman's answer would involve information he got from staff. Counsel for Ripple responds that Hinman's answers are relevant in part because of the high relevance of the ETH speech in their defense, and Jay Clayton pointing in a letter to Congress as an example of the SEC's transparency on how it was treating cryptocurrencies. It must be determined whether the SEC endorsed the speech, which it denies as part of the fair notice defense. He also challenged the precedent SEC cites to argue deliberative privilege. They noted that Hinman is not an official and has not taken any action to quash the deposition on his own, and demolishes SEC argument about alleged chilling effect on people seeking government positions for fear of future subpoenas. They noted that Hinman has met the founder of the Ethereum Foundation representatives of Consensus and believes he had more conversations that they have not been able to discover, and asking him is the only way to determine that. Netburn says there are easier ways. You can ask staff, stuff like that, some emails. Yeah. So it just goes on. There was a lot of really good arguments. I can't wait to see the official thing. So here the SEC jumps in and tries to throw some case law out there and try to do some referencing, and the Netburn interrupts SEC lawyer and says you raised a precedent case in her arguments that everyone had to scramble. Or wait a minute. Everyone had to scramble to read, including her, where the deposition ended up happening. Is she sure she wants to cite that, the judge asks? Of course, the SEC said they cited it with the apparent desire to litigate deliberative privilege, i.e. drag this thing out even more. They also try to cite a fragment of a previous hearing to argue Ripple only wanted to ask Hinman about XRP, which Ripple counsel shoots down. It's just, they look so bad. It's so sloppy. These lawyers should never be able to practice again, as shitty as they are. And then, here it goes. Judge Netburn calls Hinman's 2018 ETH speech the central question of the hearing, and she calls the SEC's bluff by essentially asking if it was just his personal opinion, then why can he not sit for a deposition and answer questions about it? She is very much disinclined to have Hinman sit twice, and will likely direct Hinman not to answer. The SEC will likely order him to not answer most of the questions, but she has urged the parties to work out scope in advance to avoid this and return to her if they have failed to agree. So, things are coming to a head. This is not a run-of-the-mill enforcement case by the SEC, and expressly finds Ripple case is unique, and the public interest in resolution of this case is substantial. And then, she has ordered him to be deposed, as we know, coming into this. Ripple, angrily shouts out, well, I don't know if they shouted, but they angrily told the judge on the way out of there that Hinman has been, or the SEC, has been withholding every part of every internal memorandum, citing privilege and its position is untenable and prejudicing. the defense and the judge should be aware, and I think she is. She's finally starting to get annoyed, and you can tell, which is fantastic. She's a great judge, but we've all been waiting for her to have enough of this crap. During the hearing, Judge Netberg acknowledged you, yes you, in her ruling, and that is all of us in the XRP community, XRP army, and even in the digital asset space. If you're not hating on this situation, which you shouldn't be because it affects us all, she mentioned the significant public interest in the case is one reason why this was an exceptional case and a basis for the Hinman deposition. Phone line was maxed out at 4K again, and congratulations. See if we can get that raised up soon to maybe 10,000. If you had the opportunity to ask Hinman under oath, what would you ask him? I haven't got there yet. I've been trying to think of something good, but this guy Martin did say I would have to ask him this. Is cereal soup? Why or why not? I don't know why. I just think that's fantastic. Feel free to drop in the comments what you would ask him, or go to Moon Lambo's status here and do it yourself. Hinman is now trending in the United States on Twitter, up from number 20 to number 16 in the last 15 minutes. That is crazy. I wonder if it'll still say, does it still say it's trending or no? Oh, whatever. I'm not going to worry about that. And if you guys don't know, this all stems back to the speech they're talking about where Bitcoin and Ether were declared as non-securities, one by Jay Clayton, the SEC chair, and then one by William Hinman, the director of corporate finance, who is pretty much an enforcement division from what I understand. That can give you some information on that. And one of the reasons this is a big ruling is Ripple can ask Hinman, how did you come up with sufficiently decentralized narrative test for Ethereum? It also puts him in an awkward spot when they can ask him about the $1.6 million he was getting paid from his old law firm while working at the SEC, a law firm that is heavily involved with the Ethereum Foundation. And I think a lot of that's coming to light. I think there's going to be a lot more people getting asked questions too, which leads me into this. Hinman gets to go first on the hot seat. Who's next? And I'm going to tell you guys who's next. This asshat right here, Jay Clayton. Spread the word, guys. Let's blast this all over Twitter. Blast it on your Facebook, your Instagram, anywhere people might look at it. If we could get mainstream media to really pick up this case, which I think they might now that this just elevated to Hinman being deposed, I think it's a big deal. They might run with some stories, but we need to make sure this thing's getting blasted. Let's keep him trending. Get some hashtags rolling. Share their faces. Share the story. Any clips you see about it, just blast all this stuff, man. They've got to be held accountable. We cannot allow this type of stuff to go on. It's like I said, what they have done has benefited China so much and put us at such a disadvantage that, in my opinion, it should be upgraded not only from fraud and unethical behavior and this, that, and the other deceptive techniques, whatever. I don't even know what these charges would actually be called, but I think these guys should be looked at for treason at this point, and that is just my personal opinion. And with that, I'm going to chill out, and I'm going to go to bed. I will talk to you guys in a video sometime tomorrow.